Hey, hello, this is Genie here. I'm here to talk about this tiny little game I made for a game jam called Tiny Ships from Outer Space. So I made this game for a game jam that's called the Opera GX Game Jam, which just recently ended. And the whole point of the game jam is for us to create a web game. So I have here the game. Oh, well, I have here the PC version of the game, right? Just for recording purpose, and I'd like to show it off. So the game is really simple. It's a shooting game, arcade-style shooting game where UFO spawns from the sky, and you have to shoot upwards. So let me show it how it works. So you can see that you're moving this character around, and there are a lot of spaceship that is spawning from the sky and is shooting towards you. Each enemy is shooting 3 bullets. Right, and over time there will be a lot of these enemies and a lot of bullets on screen. So it's a little bit like a bullet hell. At a certain point there will be this spaceship hovering on the ground, and you have to jump over it. So you can see that the whole point is shoot everything that you can while trying to avoid anything that will kill you. It's a very simple game, and at the moment it's just a high score chaser. But I really do like the addictive nature of it. I find myself playing it for up to like half an hour or more sometimes. While I was testing the game. So yeah, I do like it. It's currently available on gamejolt.com, right? The title is Tiny Ships from Outer Space, and you can check it out if you want to. The web version is available, and after the game jam's voting period is over, I would polish it up a bit more and release the PC standalone versions as well. Now, there's something I would like to talk about for this game, and one thing would be the enemy behavior, right? Especially the ships that spawns from the sky. The behavior is really simple. So first they have an initial state where they spawn in, right? You can see that they're rolling in from the sky above, and after that they will move into this shooting state. And after firing the first shot, it's just they will just alternate between moving to a random, well, quote-unquote random position before firing another shot. Sometimes they will move multiple times before firing a shot. And now the thing is, if I were to just always make the enemy move to a random position, then it's not ideal, because then there will be times where I can just stand perfectly still and not get hit by enemies. So what I had to do is that at any one point in time there will actually be an enemy, right, that will move in such a position, that will move to a position such that it will always be able to hit you from the side, right, because there are 3 bullets that's firing. So one of the bullets on the side will be able to hit you. So I have to do some calculations for that, right? There's some mathematics, algebra involved, and that was fun. Originally I had intended for this enemy, right, to have 2 different attack styles, right? One is firing bullets, the other is dropping a bomb. So when it drops the bomb, right, the bomb doesn't explode immediately. It's like a grenade. It takes a while. There's a countdown, and that would prompt the player to have to jump over it. But because of the time constraint, right, I don't really have a lot of time to work on this project. So in the end, I ended up making a tiny spaceship that hovers above the ground, and you have to jump over it. Yeah. One more thing I'd like to talk about is, I have this tendency to
to write a pretty hacky code, you know, because I just want things to work, you know, and I want to test the gameplay quickly. But that approach has on occasions hurt me, because then my code is not very scalable. So for this project, I wanted to pay closer attention to my code structure. So for this one, I've made a message passing system. So there is a message bus in the game, right? And every time an important event happens, I will broadcast that event, and this event is then received by the various systems that I've coded. So there's the game manager, the one that's handling the game logic. It listens to the message bus. The sound effects manager listens to the message bus, right? And the sound effects manager handles all of the sound effects that are listening, right? And then there's the FX manager, right? The visual effects, the one that handles all the particle spraying. It listens to the effect as well. So for example, when the bullet hits the ship, when you fire a bullet and it hits the ship, there's this white flashing circle that appears, right? So what happens is the FX manager listens to the bullet hit event, and when the event is received, it then spawns that's white and black circle. So it gives that effect. And also there can be a pretty large number of objects within the game at any one point in time, right? Especially the number of bullets. So I made I did pooling, right? I made that object pool. So my pool is very naively implemented, but I think it still helps. It still helps because I'm not like constantly allocating and deallocating memory for all of these bullets. So I made pools as well. Pools for all the enemies, for all the bullets, and all of the visual particle effects that you see on the screen. One of the criteria for the game jam is that it needs to support the high score. So you can see that on the top left corner there is a high score. I'm currently at the 11k, that's my high score. And that part was easy. That was handled entirely by Gamemaker, right? Gamemaker has some functions that is provided for high score support. So that was done relatively quickly. And I was very pleased with how straightforward it is to implement that. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So what do I see for this game's future? The thing is, when I made this game, right, or the original intention is I just want to make something simple and have fun with it. That's the most important part. And I did have fun with it. I really like that it's such a straightforward, simple game, and yet at the same time it's also very skill based. It provides the right amount of challenge, at least for me, right? And I find myself to be pretty engaged by this whole shooting and dodging bullets. So I feel like I want to make it more than what it currently is. I would like to introduce some random, well, maybe random is not the right word, but I would like to introduce some perhaps roguelike elements into the game. I want to borrow some elements from roguelike games. So I want to maybe at certain points in the game, when you have gained enough points, I want the player to be able to choose like certain gameplay mutations. Like maybe it could be an upgrade, or it could be something that changes how the gameplay is that ultimately plays out. I would like to see how having this roguelike element would change the game. And that's it. So I will, right after I release my next game, which is Jam Jabua, after I'm done with that, perhaps in a couple of months, I would like to revisit this game. Yeah, and that's all I have to say. Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for listening. I'll see you. Bye bye.